Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. Today, our topic is going to be county treasurers. The treasurer's office, a lot of people see as the county's banker, the investment banker. This is the person that collects the money, puts it in the bank, watches the investments, puts it out to get a return. But the job really is much more complex than that. There are interactions with other departments of the county. There are checks and balances that have to be met, state codes and laws that have to be followed. So we want to start our discussion today about the nuts and bolts of the department. How does the treasurer work in conjunction with the county commissioners, the auditors, and the assessors to protect and fiduciarily be responsible for your tax dollars?
In just over 10 days, it's everybody's favorite deadline, April 15th. Tax Day. Now there's another deadline we're going to talk about today of November 30th. That's when your property tax is due to the county treasurer's office. Now there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes both before and after you receive your tax notice in November. And you'll find that while we write the check to the treasurer's office, they are just a messenger in this entire process and wear a lot of hats for the county.
As a citizen of a municipality, we enjoy a number of services. Some of those services, such as transportation and public safety, are provided by the county or the city, but there are also school districts, special service districts, and such. For the sake of simplicity, we will call all of these services stuff. So there is a bunch of stuff that we take advantage of every day that needs to be paid for. Property tax is the principal revenue source for local governments. The advantage of property tax is that the revenue is equal to what it costs to pay for stuff. It starts in the recorder's office. When you buy a home, it is recorded with the county, and that parcel becomes the basis for what you will pay in property tax. The value is then determined by the county assessor, who calculates the fair market value of all real property within the county. All of those property values become part of the assessment roll, the total value of property within a county, which is then used to determine the tax rate. The tax rates are reported and reviewed by the county auditor, and they become part of the valuation notice that you receive in July. As a side note, a local government may not impose tax rates that constitute a tax increase without involving the public in what is known as truth in taxation. The tax system has a number of checks and balances built in all along the way. The end result is your tax notice, which is sent out by the treasurer's office, and it is the treasurer's office that collects your payment. A common misconception is that the county treasurer is collecting tax dollars for county government only. Mark Altum, the Davis County treasurer, explained that they collect for a number of entities, and while those monies may flow through the county, they don't stay there.
55 to 60% of those tax dollars throughout the state go to the school district, and then about 20%, 15 to 20% goes to the county government itself, and then about 10 to 15% go to the municipalities, and then another smaller percentage go to the special districts such as a sewer district, water districts.
In the simplest of terms, the county treasurer is the tax collector for all the local taxing entities. But as you've seen from the story, they are merely the messenger. An important thing to remember when they deliver your tax notice in November. So don't shoot the messenger. Another thing to remember is the treasurer's office is also where you go to talk about tax relief. August is a good time to start looking into that. For the County Seat, I'm Derek Dowsett.
Thanks, Derek, for that report. It gives us a good basis from which to start our conversation. We'll be right back with our panel today on the County Seat, the topic of treasurers, right after this commercial break.
Color. It's something that can be seen. But have you ever wanted to reach out and touch it? Experience it. In San Juan County, Utah, color comes to life like nowhere else on earth. Color can be more than an abstract. Color can be your gateway to a new world. Visit San Juan County and explore the past, present, and future in a way that you've only dreamed of. San Juan County. Color your experience.
You go through the day-to-day repeating what you did yesterday. Don't you wish you could access that piece of your life that's missing? Find the beauty, serenity, family fun, or anything else that's missing from your life in the Cedar City, Bryan Head area. Gain access to your adventure, whether it's camping, hiking, the arts, festivals, or just a getaway. Visit cedarcityayl.com for details on all the adventures that you can access in scenic southern Utah.
There is a place where looking out means looking in, where an impression lasting only a few seconds will be imprinted on a life forever, where courage is forged and innocence rediscovered, where remembering is rewarding and forgetting unforgettable. There is a place where truth is felt and where seeing is believing. There is a place.
Remember those good old days? The places you went with your family when you were young? Reinvest in those old memories by making new ones. Beaver County is the perfect place to start that new tradition. Enjoy your favorite pastimes with family and friends. Connect with the history and culture of Utah in a place that's looking to the future. Modern conveniences minus the hustle and bustle of other locales. Beaver County, your adventure starts here.
Welcome back to the county seat. Our topic today is the county treasurer. It's one of those jobs that a lot of people interface with, but they really don't understand it. And joining us for a conversation today, John Bond from Weber County, the treasurer. We have Sean Thornley, who is Box Elder treasurer for Box Elder County, and he's the president of the Utah Association of County Treasurers. And we have Wendy Long from Uintah County, treasurer out there as well. I would like to talk briefly about a skill set. You know, a guy on the outside will look at the county offices and go, okay, the clerk auditor, all right, that's an accountant. The treasurer, I would logically think, is an investment banker. How does that really line up with your jobs? You know, if somebody's making that assumption, are they correct? Are they far off?
They're not too far off. I think that the treasurer requires some analytical skills. There is some accounting that is necessary. There's also, it's very important that we're good communicators and that we can deal with the public in such a way that we don't make paying taxes any more difficult than it has to be, or any more painful than it has to be.
You have to go out of your way to be friendly when people are upset, huh?
And you have to multitask.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on at once, and you really have to have the skill of multitasking.
So this is an elected position. There are many county positions that are appointed. There are a handful that are reserved to be elected, and this is one of the ones they felt important be elected. Why does that become so critical?
Well, I think that it insulates us a little bit from the politics that happen in any government. And I think that over the years has been important. It allows us to make decisions without having anyone put political pressure on us to make a different decision. We're governed by quite a few different rules and things like that. And I always look at the treasurer as less a politician and more of a professional practitioner.
So that would raise a good question. There aren't, you know, to be a county attorney, you actually have to be a member of the bar. To be elected as a sheriff, they require the sheriff be post-certified. There aren't really any credentials for a county treasurer. What skill set should somebody bring to the job? And I'm not encouraging anybody to be running against you guys by any means, but I mean, what do you consider good skill sets to come to this job?
Well, in my case, a lot of it was experience. I worked in the treasurer's office 10 years before I became the county treasurer, and I think a lot of that was very helpful to my position now as the county treasurer. Also, I think that, as mentioned before, the ability to work with people and have those skills is very important.
I think most recently in Weber County we had a request through a vote for us to go out and expand our library program. And so it required a bond of about $45 million that being the case, we were required then to get into that environment, make sure that all of our financials were looking good and that they were accurate, they were being audited. We also needed to go out to the bond market. And in that process, we needed to get a bond rating. And so we went to one of the bond rating agencies, Fitch, and went through the entire process of getting bonded. In that sense, getting a bond rating, came back with a AAA bond rating, which indicates to the community that the county's operations and our economy and et cetera are functioning at a high level. And the risk of investors coming in and investing on our bonds is a very good investment, so they require a very low interest rate. It's great for our community because we don't have to pay as much in interest. So the role of the treasurer in that sense was to be involved in all those financial decisions and meetings. And so the skills required for that were being able to come in and understand the accounting, the finances, the economy, how the county works, and to be able to convey that and articulate that message to a variety of different parties.
Probably your position has more to do with the bond rating of the county than commissioner, clerk auditor, anybody else that's involved in the river of money scenario.
It's a key part, but there are others in the county that have also key roles, but we're a very key part of that group, yes.
I would like to just talk for a minute about this particular aspect of your job, because you have a balanced budgets. You know, the assessor has to come up with the tax rate. The clerk auditor's got to work on the budget. The commissioner's the ones that approve it. You guys are involved in that process. Every other department that deals with taxpayer money, it is a process of those monies passing through either on their way in or on their way out. You actually hold them. Is that the thing that makes the treasurer a distinct job, because you're actually the custodians of the county's money?
Well, we are, as treasurers, we are the custodian of all county funds. The assessor assesses the value on the properties. The clerk auditor sets the tax rate, and then the treasurer collects the tax. And it's our responsibility on the property tax side of what we do to collect that tax, and then we disperse it to all the taxing entities. We don't just keep all of that money for the county. We are the collector of all those funds, and then at the end of every month we make an account of what we've collected, and then we disperse it to all of the taxing entities within that county. Not only do we do the property tax side, and we've talked a lot about that, we also do the county side, or the general fund. And those are monies that come in from the different departments within the county. You might have the landfill fees or building permits, marriage licenses, passports, any of those type of fees that any department in the county collects. We are the ones that take that money into our offices and bank it daily. So we kind of act like the county's bank.
So along that line, you're talking about you're the custodian of that money, and you say you transfer it out to other entities. How much of the tax bill that I just paid in my property tax actually parks itself or resides itself with county operations? Is most of it like for other taxing entities?
Yeah, that's one misconception that some people have about the treasurer's office, is that all this money comes into the treasurer's office, so obviously it must belong to the county. The truth is that we act as a fiduciary when we collect taxes, and we're collecting taxes for the local school districts and in the cities, all sorts of small districts, mosquito abatement districts. And so we're actually we're acting as a fiduciary, and we're gathering all that money, and then we're paying it out to those different entities. And it usually ends up that the county gets about somewhere around 20% of that. 60 to 70% generally goes to the school district. So it depends on where you live and what taxing entities your property reside in. But as a rule of thumb, that seems to come out fairly close.
So you have to take the ball bats from people with their big tax bill, and you kind of run interference for the guy. You hand the money over to the school district now. Oh yeah, here, and you had to go through the big fight to get it. Is that about right?
You know, there's a flow of information that goes through the county. That starts in the recorder's office and then the assessor's office. But we always say the buck stops in the treasurer's office, because that's where you have to get out your checkbook and write your checks. So.
There you go. This is a good place to take a break. We'll take a break here on the county seat. We're going to continue our conversation about misperceptions when we come back. Stay with us.
Planning your next conference or corporate event? The Davis Conference Center offers 70,000 square feet of flexible meeting and exhibit space, plus high-tech audio-visual services that will make your event a success. Whether you're planning a training, meeting, company retreat, wedding, or large convention, let the staff at the Davis Conference Center help you arrange your next event. Located east of I-15 in Layton, call 801-416-8888 or visit davisconferencecenter.com today.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. You belong in Kanab.
Why is it that environmental protection and economic development are often placed at odds with each other? In Duchesne County, they have both. Here, modern industry and resource development go hand in hand with some of the most pristine wilderness in the western United States. A strong economy balanced with a lifestyle of exploration and discovery. But don't take my word for it. Go visit them. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
Imagine a unique, breathtaking cascade misting into the deep pool below. A world-renowned national scenic byway that snakes through some of the greatest views in the world. A canyon painted red by the hands of time. A land that brings the Wild West back to life. And it's all in one amazing place. Here's some advice when visiting Bryce Canyon Country. Take your time.
Welcome back to the county seat. We're talking to our county treasurers from around the state today. The topic is the treasurer's office. I would like to pick up kind of where we left and talk about the misperceptions of the treasurer's office. Okay, I'm sure because in my own perceptions through the years, before I started delving into county issues, I would say, oh, the treasurer's the guy that, you know, collects all this money and he can invest it in a land deal and he can buy gold with it if he chooses, and you're trying to generate wealth and make investments, and some people see that as a lot of risk. What do you guys do with the money that you take in?
Well, we are, as treasurers, in charge of investing the money that we hold, but yield is not our number one concern. Safety is our number one concern when we invest, and liquidity is important as well, and somewhere down the line comes yield. And you know, we're governed by a lot of different laws. In particular, the Money Management Act gives us guidance in how we should invest that. And the Money Management Act is a very good thing. We have a Money Management Council here in Utah, and I believe, John, you're a part of that.
Yes, I'm one of the 5 members of that council.
And it gives us some very good guidelines of how we should make our investments. And that is the number one document we go to as we invest these monies.
Now, is that a fluid document? Does the council that you sit on make modifications and recommendations to it, or is it like etched in parchment paper somewhere?
We make changes through the legislature normally, so it's a very law-driven event. So if we want to change, we go to the legislature, we see if they will petition to the other legislators to pass a law, and that's how most of what has happened in the Act has occurred in the past years.
You guys are really restricted and stuff.
Very restricted and very wise in the way we invest our money, invest the public's money, you bet.
We have to report to the Money Management Council 4 times a year. So quarterly we have to report to that agency where our money is, how much is invested where, so that they know where we have our money invested and that it is on their approved list.
And are you looking at the returns as well, so that you say, well, we've got X number in this fund, and then that council will see, well, it's yielded so much. I mean, is that part of the analysis?
It very much is. And only a certain amount of money can be put into certain sectors, financial, etc. And so a large part of the money that different treasurers in the state have that are public funds are invested through the Utah State Treasurer, who has a fund that follows all of these Act requirements, and it's very easy for treasurers to simply put their money into that bank, so to speak, and use that as their investment tool.
So it's kind of like a mutual fund that the state runs, kind of?
It's an investment opportunity that most treasurers use because they follow all these Act requirements.
Okay, well that makes sense. Now, most people are going to look at your job and they're going to go, okay, they're really busy when the tax deadline comes up for property tax, and then they go on vacation to the Bahamas. Are there other...
I've actually been told that before by customers. After tax season, they look at us and say, well, now what are you going to do? And so that is a misconception out there for people, that they don't realize that even after our deadline, which is November 30th for property tax, we're still doing the whole county side of the money. That goes on all year long. Also, we're collecting property tax all year long. We are collecting back taxes, we're collecting advance payments, which we encourage people to do that and let people know that they can pay in advance for their property taxes, either by coming into the office or paying it online. In our county, we have it so that they can pay it online, and they can pay so much every month. That way it doesn't hit them so hard at the end of the year or, right before Christmas time. I've even had a customer that said to us one time, she came in and she had her granddaughter with her, and she said, this is why you're not going to get a Christmas present this year, because I'm giving this lady all my money.
Oh,
so
that's not
That's
fair.
kind of on the extreme, I realize, but we do get that. And I think that people, we try to encourage people to pay in advance. And also it was a missed opportunity to educate that child of really what good things taxes do. I had a son that spent 2 years in a foreign country. And knowing what I do for a living, after he came home, he said, Mom, I don't ever want to live in a country that doesn't pay taxes. And so he saw, because he lived in where they didn't have that, what a nice thing it is to come back to a community that pays property taxes.
Great. I want to talk, when we come back from our commercial break, about one of the most important areas, and that is reconciliations, which you guys have been busy with the last month. We'll be right back on the County Seat.
What would you do with an extra day in Utah Valley? Explore the Wasatch Mountains? Snap a family photo at Bridal Veil Falls. Cool off on Utah Lake or the Provo River. No matter what you're searching for, you can find it in Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
If you like the outdoors, there's not a better place to be. And like today for us, for instance, how many people did we run into? I mean, we really, you've got this beautiful land pretty much to yourself, and where do you want to go? You want to go there? Go there. It's wide open. It's amazing.
Isn't it time you found the balance you've been looking for? Uinta County, Utah.
What's the story of your life? What chapter are you on? Did you happen to get married recently? Perhaps you found your lost puppy at the animal shelter. Or you're taking an art class at the senior center. There's that flu shot that kept you well last season. And don't forget the museums and historical sites your family loves. And all the fun you have at the County Swim Center. County services, from search and rescue to maintaining roads, bring tremendous value to each of our lives. We're the Utah Association of Counties, helping you build the story of your life.
Welcome back to the county seat. We're talking to the county treasurers today from around the state. We're talking about their jobs, their tasks. It's been a good conversation so far. I've learned an awful lot in this short period of time. I also learned that you guys have just gone through one of your most hectic times, and it's not tax collection time. March apparently is a pretty hectic month. What is reconciliation all about?
Well, one of the interesting things that has been going on since counties began in Utah back in 1851 is treasurers need to reconcile what happened the year before in taxes. If you don't mind, I brought a couple of things here. David Nelson was a treasurer for Weber County back in the 1860s. And I brought with us today his actual reconciliation from 1866. It includes cash, bushels of wheat, etc., that he reconciled for that year, 1866. Currently in March, for all the counties in Utah, all the treasurers are going through that process right now, reconciling everything that happened tax-wise in the prior year.
He did his on 2 pages.
It's front and back, but we're okay. Another thing interesting to remember is that certain things in the office, in the county treasurer's office, have been going on for years and years. Here, the Ogden Press, 1898, is the Delinquent Tax Notice that went out for that year. It's not new for properties to go to tax sale, but it is a requirement of the treasurer to provide information so that taxes are credited properly and that process in our structure in our community is sound. And so with these processes have been going on for a very long time, since counties began in the 1850s.
So basically you guys have had a chance to work a lot of the bugs out. Would that be a fair statement?
Well, for example, now our year-end statement is a spreadsheet that spans quite a ways. So big difference from back then, but the same concept. We still have to reconcile everything, and that's the check and balance part of it.
One last question, very quickly, for each of you, and just rattle it off. What one thing could the state do to make your job better?
I think last year the state legislature allowed us to do tax emails, tax notice through the email process. We're excited about that, and we're looking forward to engaging with that right now.
Okay, anything else very quickly?
Occasionally the legislature will throw us a curveball, and we really appreciate it when we get a chance to work with them, and so that we can get an understanding of which ways the process needs to evolve, and where we can give them feedback, and they can give us their issues that concern them as well.
There's a very good check and balance system going on in the county now, and we face different things during the legislative session, but we try not to fix things that aren't broken.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the county seat. Remember, local government is where your life happens. You really should be involved in part of the process, understand how it works, and tell your friends about us. We'll see you next week right here on the county seat.
Here's some advice. When visiting Bryce Canyon Country, take your time.
If you like this video, then we invite you to subscribe to our channel, The County Seat. You can do that here. And we invite you to share with your friends. We also invite you to get all the latest up-to-date information by following us on our social media channels. And if all else fails, make sure that you watch The County Seat Sunday morning at 8:30 right here on ABC4